The sound of shiny leather shoes clicked on the marble floor inside a big, almost empty church. Elian Crawford walked slowly toward the front. At the altar stood a woman in a long white wedding dress. She wasn't smiling. She was standing very still, like she had seen something terrible. Elian had only been driving by when he noticed something strange. People were leaving the church. Some of them looked confused. Others looked sad, whispering to each other. They were wedding guests, and they were leaving without a party. Elian stepped inside and sat quietly in the very last pew. He watched as the bride stood alone, trying very hard not to cry. She was a beautiful African-American woman, but her face showed deep pain. Beside her, the maid of honor, dressed in a burgundy gown, looked almost as broken as the bride. Something was wrong. Very, very wrong. "Where is he?" the bride whispered. Her voice was so soft, but the church was so big that everyone could hear her. Her hands were shaking as she held the bouquet tightly. Tears filled her eyes, ready to fall. "I don't know, Liana," the maid of honor said sadly. "He was here this morning. He seemed fine. He was happy, excited. He was ready, Liana." Elian heard the name Liana and remembered it. He stared, shocked. This poor woman had been left alone on the most important day of her life. The priest walked closer, his voice gentle. "My dear, maybe we should go to the back room." But Liana didn't move. She stood frozen like a statue of sadness. Elian had seen people lose everything before in his business world, but never like this. This woman's heart was breaking right in front of everyone. Suddenly, a young man rushed inside. His tuxedo was messy, and he looked panicked. "I've called him 20 times. His phone is off. I even went to his apartment. His car is gone." "Liana, I'm so sorry." Elian felt his jaw tighten. His anger grew. What kind of man would leave a woman's anything at the altar? What kind of coward would do this? "Did he say anything?" Liana's voice cracked. "Yesterday, this morning, anything at all?" The young man shook his head. "No. He was nervous, yes, but all grooms are nervous. He talked about the honeymoon, about starting life with you. He gave no sign he was going to run away." "Run away." The words hit everyone like thunder. Liana's face turned pale. Guests started leaving in small groups. Their whispers floated in the air. Poor thing. How could he just leave her? Maybe it's for the best. Elian's fists clenched. For the best. How could someone think that? This woman had just lost her future in one morning. An older woman rushed forward, Liana's mother. She hugged her daughter tightly. "Oh, sweetheart, let's get you out of this dress. Let's go home. Let's go home." But Liana shook her head, her eyes empty. "I can't go there. I can't face that apartment. All our things are there. The wedding gifts, the plans." Elian now saw the full disaster. Liana wasn't just abandoned. She had lost her wedding, her home, and her peace, all at once. Her maid of honor squeezed her hand. "You can stay with me. We'll figure this out." But Elian could see Liana's eyes. She looked lost, drifting like a boat cut from its anchor. The photographer packed up her camera nervously. "I'm so sorry, dear. Should I put everything away?" Liana only nodded, unable to speak. Her strong will was breaking. One by one, the church emptied. Soon only Liana, her parents, her maid of honor, and Elian remained. The silence was heavy. Not the happy silence before a wedding, but the silence after dreams die. "Why?" Liana whispered to the empty air. "Why today? Why like this?" Elian made his decision. He couldn't just stand and watch. He had the power to help people. And this woman's pain moved his heart. He walked down the aisle. His footsteps echoed. Liana's family looked up, surprised. "Excuse me," Elian said softly. "I don't mean to intrude, but I think you might need some help." Liana looked up, her eyes red. She blinked. "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" "My name is Elian Crawford," he said, bowing slightly. The maid of honor stepped closer, protective. "Who are you? What do you want?" "I'm just someone who believes that when life breaks us, we should find new ways to stand again," Elian said. He looked right at Liana. "I have a proposition for you." Liana frowned. "A proposition?" "Yes," Elian said carefully. "A way to start over with dignity and with purpose. What happened today does not mean you're worthless. Any man who leaves you like this is a fool. He doesn't deserve you. For the first time, Liana's eyes showed something besides pain, surprise, curiosity. I think, Eliane said gently, we should talk about how this worst day of your life could become the first day of something better. 3 hours later, Liana sat alone in the garden behind the church. Her wedding dress was wrinkled, her hair had come loose, her makeup had run down her cheeks. Her parents and her maid of honor, Zara, had begged her to come home, but she needed to be alone. The sun was setting, the shadows grew long. She thought of where she should be, at her reception, dancing with her husband. Instead, she was on a cold stone bench, wondering how everything had fallen apart so fast. She heard footsteps on the gravel. She looked up, expecting Zara. Instead, she saw a tall man in a suit. It was Eliane Crawford. "Excuse me," he said softly. "Are you all right?" Liana almost laughed. "All right? I'm as far from all right as a person can be." But something in his voice, real care, not fake politeness, made her listen. "I'm Eliane Crawford," he said. "I was driving by and saw you. You looked like you needed help." "Eliane Crawford?" Liana repeated. Then it hit her. "The businessman? Crawford Industries?" He nodded, a little embarrassed. "Yes, but today I'm just a man who saw you having the worst day of your life." Despite her tears, Liana gave a tiny smile. "That's the truest thing anyone has said today." Eliane sat beside her, not too close. "Do you have somewhere to go? Someone to call?" The questions broke her again. She cried harder. "I was supposed to get married today. He left me. He left me. I don't understand why." Eliane's face softened. "I'm sorry. That's unforgivable." "Everyone says it's for the best," Liana said, her voice shaking. "But how can it be for the best? I loved him. We had plans, a home, a life. Now I have nothing. No job, no home that doesn't remind me of him. No future." Eliane looked at her kindly. "What's your name?" "Liana. Liana Bennett." She wiped her tears. "I don't know why I'm telling you all this. You're a stranger." "Sometimes it's easier to talk to strangers," Eliane said quietly. His eyes were sad, too. "You sound like someone who has been hurt before," Liana whispered. Eliane was silent, then nodded. "My best friend betrayed me. He stole clients, he spread lies, he almost destroyed everything I worked for. I thought he was my brother, but I was wrong." "I'm sorry," Liana said softly. "That must have been terrible." "It was. But I survived, and you will too," Eliane told her. "The question is, what will you do now?" "I don't know," Liana admitted. "My friend offered her place, but she already has roommates. My parents want me to come home, but that feels like going backward. I need a fresh start, but I don't know where." Eliane thought quietly. Then he turned to her. His eyes were serious. "This may sound crazy," he said slowly, "but I have a proposition." Liana raised her eyebrows. "A proposition?" "Yes," Eliane said. "I need a wife, not for love, not for romance, for business. My company deals with old-fashioned clients. They want me to look settled, a family man. Being single hurts my work." Liana blinked. "Are you asking me to marry you? We just met." "I'm asking you to think about a business arrangement," Eliane explained. "A marriage of convenience. You need a safe start. I need someone strong beside me in social and business events. We could help each other." Liana sat in the church garden, still wearing her torn wedding dress. Her heart hurt because her big day had turned into a nightmare. Blaze, the man she thought she would marry, had run away and left her alone. Then a stranger named Eliane Crawford came to her. His offer was so strange that Liana almost laughed. But something deep inside her was also curious. "You don't even know me," Liana said. Eliane looked at her calmly. "I know you were left at the altar today. You are standing strong when most people would be falling apart. I know you are smart, beautiful, and organized. That is what I need in a business partner." "Business partner?" Liana repeated. "Not a wife in the normal way?" "Exactly," Eliane nodded. "We would live our own lives in our own spaces. No expectations. You would have time to think about your future, and you wouldn't need to worry about money, housing, or food." Liana stared at him. His idea sounded crazy, but also maybe it was what she needed. The next morning, Liana woke up in her friend Zara's small apartment. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then everything came back. The broken wedding, Blaze running away, and Elian's strange offer. Zara came out of the kitchen holding 2 cups of coffee. "You're up early. How are you feeling?" "Like I got hit by a truck," Liana said, taking the cup. "But also confused." She told Zara about Elian's offer. Zara's eyes got bigger with every word. "Are you out of your mind?" Zara asked. "You can't marry a stranger. That's not a solution. That's jumping into something worse." "But what if it's not worse?" Liana asked quietly. "What if this is my chance to start fresh? I looked him up online, Zara. He's real. Elian Crawford owns a huge company worth millions. He gives money to charity. There's no scandal about him." Zara frowned. "That doesn't mean he isn't crazy. Normal people don't ask strangers to marry them in a church garden." "Normal people also don't get left at the altar," Liana whispered. "Maybe this is my way to take control of my life." Before Zara could reply, Liana's phone rang. The screen showed a name that made her heart race. Blaze. "Don't answer," Zara said quickly, but Liana did. "Hello, Liana. Thank God." Blaze's voice sounded nervous. "I've been trying to call you. Are you okay?" "Am I okay?" Liana asked, her voice rising. "You left me at the altar, Blaze, in front of everyone we know. How do you think I feel?" "I panicked," Blaze said quickly. "It wasn't about you. It was me. I felt trapped, scared. But I've thought about it and I know I made a mistake. I love you. Let's try again. We can have a small wedding, just family." Liana's chest tightened, but her voice came out strong. "No." "What?" Blaze asked in shock. "I said no. You had your chance. You ran away. You don't get to come back and act like nothing happened. If you loved me, you would have shown up. You would have talked to me about your fears. Instead, you left me standing there like a fool." She hung up. Her hands shook, but she felt powerful. Zara looked at her with pride. "Good for you. He doesn't deserve you." Liana's eyes drifted to Elian's business card on the table. "I'm going to call him." 1 hour later, Liana sat across from Elian in his shiny office. In the daylight, he looked even more handsome. But what comforted her most was the serious, calm look in his eyes. "I wasn't sure you would call," Elian said, offering her tea. "I almost didn't," Liana admitted. "My friend thinks I'm crazy." "She's probably right to be careful," Elian said. "This is unusual, but if we set rules, it could work." "What would you expect from me?" Liana asked. "I go to many dinners, parties, and charity events," Elian explained. "I need a partner who is graceful and smart in public. You would be my wife in front of others, but in private we would live separately. Separate rooms, no romance unless we both agree someday." Liana's face grew warm. "Separate bedrooms?" "Yes," Elian said firmly. "This is not about love. It's a partnership. We can try it for 1 year. After that, if it's working, we continue. If not, we end it." Liana nodded slowly. "What about money? I can't contribute." "You don't need to," Elian said. "I'll provide for everything, home, clothes, food. In return, you'll stand beside me at events as my wife." Liana tilted her head. "That seems one-sided. What do you get out of it?" Elian was quiet, then spoke softly. "Companionship. My life is lonely. I work all the time. I don't trust easily after what happened with my old partner. I don't have time for dating. This way, we both get something we need." Liana felt touched. He had everything, money, looks, success, but he was lonely, just like her. "If I agree," she asked, "when would we do it?" "As soon as possible." "A small ceremony, nothing fancy," Elian said gently. Liana thought of Blaze's call that morning. She thought of her ruined wedding, of people pitying her, of starting over with nothing. Then she took a deep breath. "Okay," she said. Elian blinked. "You're agreeing?" "Yes, I'll marry you. But I have one rule. If either of us falls in love with someone else or wants to leave, we end it honestly. No running away. We talk." Elian smiled. His smile was warm and real. "I can promise that." 2 weeks later, Liana stood in the grand hallway of Elian's huge mansion. She felt small in such a big place. The wedding had been simple, a courthouse, just Zara and Elian's assistant as witnesses. No flowers, no music, no crowd. Elian carried her small suitcase upstairs. Your room is the second on the right. I hope it's comfortable. The room was larger than Zara's whole apartment, with a big bed, a cozy sitting area, and tall windows that looked out on a beautiful garden. The closet was nearly empty except for the few clothes she had left. It's beautiful, Liana said, but I feel like I'm intruding. You're not, Elian said kindly. You're keeping our agreement. Speaking of which, your first test is this Saturday night. Test? The Geneva Foundation Gala, Elian explained. It's a huge charity event. Many of my important clients will be there. He looked sorry. I know it's a lot for your first event. That's why I'm here, right? Liana said bravely. For the next few days, Liana tried to adjust to her new life. The mansion was stunning, but quiet. Almost too quiet. Elian left early for work and came home late. When they did talk, it was polite, but careful, like two people still learning the rules. On Thursday, Elian came home early with shopping bags. He looked embarrassed. I bought you a dress for Saturday. I wasn't sure about the size, but I can return it. Liana opened the bag. Inside was a midnight blue gown, her exact size. It was elegant and classy, perfect for her. How did you know my size? She asked. Elian's cheeks turned a little red. I asked Zara. I hope that's okay. Liana smiled softly. It's perfect, thank you. Saturday came quickly. Liana spent extra time getting ready, curling her hair and carefully putting on makeup. She looked in the mirror and saw a confident, elegant woman, not the broken bride she had been 2 weeks earlier. Elian was waiting at the bottom of the stairs in a black tuxedo. When he saw her, his eyes widened. You look stunning, he whispered. Thank you, Liana said nervously. You look pretty good yourself. In the car, Elian told her about the people at the gala. The Genevas are old money. They care about family. Mrs. Geneva especially wants to see stability. Cassian Rivera will also be there. He's deciding on a big contract with my company, but he worries that I'm not settled enough. Liana raised her eyebrows. No pressure at all, she teased. Elian laughed softly. Just be yourself. That's all I need. The gala was in the city's most expensive hotel. The ballroom glittered with crystal lights and guests wore shining gowns and tuxedos. Liana felt her chest tighten. Could she really do this? Then Elian offered her his arm. His steady presence made her feel calm. Miss Crawford, someone called warmly as they walked inside. A smart and kind-looking older woman came close to them. Her eyes were full of curiosity. How wonderful to see you. And this must be your wife, she said warmly. Mrs. Geneva, I'd like you to meet Liana, Elian said in a smooth voice. Liana, this is Eleanor Geneva. It's such a pleasure to meet you, Liana said, smiling and holding out her hand. She hoped her smile looked real. The pleasure is mine, dear, Mrs. Geneva replied. She looked at Liana carefully with sharp but kind eyes. Elian has been so secretive about his personal life. Tell me, how did you two meet? Liana felt a little scared. They had not really talked about what story they would tell people, but Elian spoke quickly and easily. We met during a hard time in Liana's life, he said warmly. I was amazed by her strength and grace. Liana realized it wasn't a lie. The way Elian said it, so kind and real, made her feel a little less like she was pretending. The rest of the evening went better than Liana had hoped. She used the people skills she had from her old job to make nice conversations with Elian business friends and their wives. She enjoyed hearing about the charity work many of them did. Some people even told Elian how lucky he was to have such a wife. You're a natural at this, Elian whispered when they had a quiet moment while watching couples dance. I'm just being polite, Liana answered. But thank you. Everyone has been so kind. Cassian Rivera seems especially impressed, Elian said, nodding toward a man who had talked with them for a long time. I think this contract might really happen. Right then, Torres came over again, as if he had heard them. Elian, Liana, I hope you're enjoying the evening, he said warmly. "I just want to say it's wonderful to see a couple who clearly brings out the best in each other." Liana felt something flutter inside her, maybe pride, maybe happiness that she was doing well. "Liana keeps me grounded," Elian said. And again, his voice didn't sound fake. It sounded true. Later, when they drove home in silence, Liana thought about the night. She had expected to feel like a fake, but instead she had felt useful, needed, even appreciated. "Thank you," Elian said as they pulled into his driveway. "You were perfect tonight." "It wasn't as hard as I thought," Liana admitted. "Your colleagues are nice people." "They are, and they clearly adore you." Elian paused, then added softly, "I can see why." Liana looked at him carefully, but his face was unreadable in the dark car. "Good night, Elian," she said gently. "Good night, Liana," he replied. That night, as Liana got ready for bed, she thought about the evening with a new feeling. She hadn't felt proud in weeks, not since Blaze had left her. But tonight she felt like she had value again, like she was giving something important to someone's life. It was a good feeling. Maybe this marriage arrangement would work out better than either of them thought. 3 weeks later, Liana woke up feeling terrible. Her head hurt, her throat was sore, and her whole body ached. She had caught a strong flu. She slowly dragged herself downstairs to make coffee, hoping it would help, but even the smell of it made her feel sick. Elian found her sitting at the kitchen island with her head in her hands. "Are you all right?" he asked, his voice full of worry. "Just a little sick," Liana whispered weakly. "I'll be fine." Elian studied her pale face. "You look awful, no offense." "None taken," Liana croaked. "I feel awful." Have you checked your temperature?" Elian asked, already looking for a thermometer. "It's just a cold," Liana protested. Elian checked anyway. 102.3, he said, frowning. "That's not just a cold, Liana. You need to be in bed." "I can take care of myself," Liana tried to say, though even speaking was tiring. "I'm sure you can," Elian replied gently, "but you don't have to." Before she could argue, Elian picked her up in his strong arms and carried her upstairs. Normally, Liana would have been embarrassed, but she felt too sick to care. He tucked her into bed and pulled the covers up. "I'm calling my doctor," he said. "That's not necessary," Liana mumbled. "Liana, you have a high fever and can barely talk." "It is necessary," Elian said firmly but kindly. "Dr. Eris makes house calls. She'll be here soon." And he was right. Dr. Eris arrived within the hour. She said Liana had a nasty flu. She gave medicine and told Elian she needs rest, fluids, and someone to check on her often. "I'll take care of her," Elian said without hesitation. After the doctor left, Elian came back with water and medicine. "You need to take these every 4 hours," he said, helping her sit up. "You don't need to babysit me," Liana whispered. "Don't you have work?" "Work can wait," Elian said, fixing her pillows. "You're my wife. Taking care of you isn't babysitting. It's what husbands do." The word wife made Liana's heart flutter strangely. All day, Elian cared for her, bringing water, soup, fruit, and checking her temperature. If she was too hot, he cooled her with a cloth. If she shivered, he added blankets. "You'll get sick too," Liana warned. "I have a strong immune system," Elian said with a small smile. "Besides, someone has to make sure you eat." He brought her chicken soup. "It's from a place my mother used to take me when I was sick as a kid," he said. Liana asked gently, "Are your parents still alive?" Elian looked sad. "My mom died 5 years ago from cancer. My dad died when I was in college." "I'm so sorry," Liana said. "She was the one person I could always count on," Elian said softly. Then he added, "She would have liked you." The words surprised Liana. By the second day, Liana's fever was gone, but she was still weak. Elian worked from home so he could check on her. "You don't have to do this," Liana told him. "I'm better now. Don't you have meetings?" "Nothing that can't be handled on the phone," Elian said calmly. Liana studied him. She saw real care in his eyes. "Why are you being so nice to me? This was supposed to be just business. You don't gain anything by taking care of me like this." Elian sat on the edge of her bed. His voice was quiet. Maybe because it's been a long time since I had someone to take care of. And maybe because you're not just a business arrangement to me anymore, Liana. You're someone I care about. Liana's heart skipped a beat. I care about you too, she whispered. Elian smiled warmly. Good. That makes this whole arrangement a lot nicer for both of us. By the third day, Liana felt well enough to dress and come downstairs. She found Elian working in his office. He jumped up when he saw her. How are you? He asked. Much better. Finally human again, Liana smiled. Thank you for everything. I know taking care of a sick, fake wife wasn't part of our deal. There was nothing fake about it, Elian said seriously. You were sick. You needed help. I was glad to give it. Something in his eyes made Liana's heart race. I should let you get back to work, she said, but she didn't move away. Actually, Elian said, I was thinking of stopping for the day. Would you like to have dinner together? Really together, not just soup in bed. Liana felt the difference in his voice. This was more personal. I'd like that, she said. That night they ate at the small kitchen table instead of the big dining room. The talk flowed easily. They spoke about books and places they wanted to see. I always wanted to see Ireland, Liana said. My grandmother was Irish and told me stories about the countryside. It's beautiful, Elian said. I went once for work and stayed longer just to see more. The landscapes are amazing. You'll have to tell me about it sometime, Liana said. I'd love to, Elian replied. His voice sounded like he meant more than just telling stories. As they washed dishes together, Liana thought about how natural this felt. She realized she wasn't lonely anymore. Thank you again, she said softly. It's been a long time since anyone took care of me. What about Blaze? Elian asked, then quickly looked sorry. I shouldn't have asked. That's none of my business. Liana smiled a little and said quietly, It's okay, surprising even herself. She looked at Elian and added, And to answer your question, Blaze was never good at taking care of me when I was sick. He usually stayed away until I got better. Elian frowned. That's not very supportive. No, it wasn't, Liana agreed. But I just accepted that it was the way he was. Now I know what it feels like when someone truly takes care of me. Elian looked at her kindly. You deserve to be taken care of, Liana, for you deserve someone who will be there when you need them. His words were so soft and honest that tears came into Liana's eyes. So do you, she whispered. For a long moment, they stood there looking at each other. Something between them changed. What had once been only polite and careful started to feel deeper, closer, and almost like real love. A few days later, they had to go on a business trip to Chicago. Elian was meeting important people who might give money for one of his new projects. Liana was going with him to a fancy dinner and a charity lunch. This kind of trip was supposed to be just for show, part of their pretend marriage. But as Liana sat beside Elian on the plane, she noticed something new. These trips didn't feel fake anymore. They felt easy, natural, and even nice. Tell me about this project, Liana asked while Elian was looking at his notes. Elian, eyes shone with excitement. It's about clean energy. We want to add solar panels and better heating and cooling systems to old office buildings. It helps the environment and saves money too. Liana leaned in. She was really interested, more than she had ever been in Blaze's work. That sounds amazing. Are many people interested in things like this? More than you'd think, Elian said. Businesses now see that helping the environment also helps their wallets. The only hard part is paying a lot at the start. That's why I need investors. That makes sense, Liana nodded. Upfront costs are always tricky. Elian smiled. You pick things up so quickly. I used to work in marketing, remember? Liana reminded him. I know about business presentations. That's right, Elian asked. What kind of marketing did you do? Liana paused. She realized they had been living together for over a month, but still knew little about each other's past. Consumer products, she said. I worked at a company that sold everything from cleaning sprays to fancy makeup. I loved it, but I left when Blaze and I got engaged. He wanted me to focus on planning our wedding and preparing for our life together. Elian frowned. So you gave up your career for him? Yes, Liana said slowly. At the time it seemed right. Blaze made enough money and he said he wanted to take care of me. But you liked your work, Elian said. I loved it, Liana admitted. I was good at it too. I even had ideas that worked really well, and I was close to a promotion before I left. Do you miss it? Elian asked softly. Liana blinked. No one had asked her that before. She'd been so busy with Blaze leaving and her new arrangement with Elian that she hadn't thought about her career. Yes, she said slowly. I think I do miss it. You should go back to it, Elian said kindly. Our arrangement doesn't have to control every part of your life. If you want to work, you should. Liana thought about his words all through their trip. In Chicago, she paid close attention to the business meetings. She asked questions and shared thoughts that made Elian look at her with respect. At dinner, she sat next to Serafina Chin, the wife of an investor. Serafina was a successful lawyer, and Liana loved talking to her. I love your husband's project, Serafina said. It's so smart and future-minded, and you seem to really understand the business side. Thank you, Liana said shyly. I do find it very interesting. Have you thought about working in this field? Serafina asked. There's a big need for people who understand both business and marketing in green projects. After dinner, Liana and Elian walked back to the hotel. That meeting went well, don't you think? She asked. Yes, Elian said. I think they'll invest. That's great news. You should celebrate. Elian stopped and looked at her. I keep thinking about what Serafina said. She was right. You'd be good at this kind of work. And I was wondering, would you want to work with me? At Crawford Industries, Liana stared at him. You want to hire me? I want to offer you a chance to interview, Elian explained. It would be real, Liana. You'd be hired because of your skills, not because of our marriage. Liana's heart raced. That sounds complicated, working together while being married, even if it's just pretend. Maybe, Elian said, but maybe it's exactly what we need. That night, Liana couldn't sleep. The idea of going back to marketing filled her with joy. The thought of working on projects that helped the world made her feel alive. And the thought of being with Elian more often, that made her heart warm in a way she couldn't deny. The next morning at breakfast, Elian seemed nervous. Have you thought about my offer? I have, Liana said, and I want to know more. Elian smiled so wide that Liana almost laughed. Really? Yes, but only if we're clear about one thing. Our work relationship must be honest. I want to know I've earned the job, not just been given it. Agreed, Elian said at once. If it doesn't work out, it won't change our personal arrangement. As the plane lifted off, Liana looked out at the city below. For the first time since Blaze had left her, she felt true excitement about the future. And strangely, that future seemed to include Elian in more ways than she had ever expected. 6 weeks later, Liana walked into Crawford Industries for her first day as a real employee. She had gone through real interviews with the marketing director and other managers, and she got the job on her own skills. Welcome to the team, said Beatriz Rodriguez, the marketing director, showing her a small but bright office. Liana felt nervous but happy. She spent her morning reading about the company's green projects and was impressed. At noon, Elian walked into her office with 2 coffees. How's your first day? He asked. Really good, Liana said, taking the coffee. This work is amazing. I didn't know you had so many different projects. We're just getting started, Elian said, sitting down, but we need better ways to explain our value to clients. I've noticed something, Liana said. You focus too much on the technical details. Business owners don't care about how solar panels work. They care about saving money and looking good to the public. You should highlight that. Elian's eyes lit up. That's brilliant. Do you have ideas for how we can do that? For an hour, they worked together. Ilian listened carefully, asking questions and respecting her thoughts. "You're going to be a huge asset," he said at last. Liana smiled. "I hope so. It feels good to work again, to contribute." "It suits you," Ilian said, pausing at the door. "You glow when you talk about this." After he left, Liana smiled to herself. She hadn't felt this confident in years. Working together was easier than they had imagined. They were professional during the day, but at night they laughed and shared their work stories. One evening, while cooking dinner together, Eliane said, "The Peterson Group wants a full presentation next week. I'll have the new materials ready," Liana said, stirring sauce. "They'll love the savings numbers." "I know they will. You've been incredible, Liana, not just as my wife in this arrangement. As a professional, you're really talented." Liana blushed. "Thank you. It feels so good to build something again." Ilian asked, "Is this what you want to do long-term? Environmental marketing?" "I think so," Liana said thoughtfully. "I love it. It makes me feel like I'm helping the world." Then she smiled teasingly. "And I have a pretty great boss." Ilian laughed. "That was pretty great." "Okay, maybe more than pretty great," Liana said softly. Her voice made Ilian look at her in a new way. They were standing close together in the kitchen. Liana suddenly noticed how warm Ilian felt beside her and how his eyes seemed to be searching her face. "Liana," Ilian said quietly. There was something in his voice that made her heart beat faster. "Yes?" she asked. "Need to tell you something. This marriage of convenience we have." Ilian paused, trying to find the right words. "It doesn't feel very convenient anymore." "What do you mean?" Liana asked, though deep inside she already guessed. "I mean," Ilian said softly but seriously, "I don't see you as just my business partner wife anymore. I see you as my real wife. I wake up excited to see you. I think of you during the day. When you smile, it makes me happy in a way that has nothing to do with our deal." Liana gasped. "I'm falling in love with you," Ilian said simply. "I don't know when it started, but it's real, and I had to tell you, even if it makes things complicated." Liana's heart filled with joy. It was the confession she'd been hoping for but never expected. "It doesn't make things complicated," she said at last, "because I'm falling in love with you too." Elian's face lit up with relief and joy. "Really?" "Really," Liana said, stepping closer. "You've been kinder, more caring, and more supportive than anyone in my life. You make me feel loved." "You are loved," Ilian whispered, cupping her face gently in his hands. "So very loved." When he kissed her, it wasn't like the short, formal kiss they had shared at their courthouse wedding. This kiss was warm, tender, and full of feelings they had hidden for weeks. "So, what happens now?" Liana asked when they finally pulled apart. "Now we stop pretending this is just an arrangement," Ilian said, holding her in his arms. "Now we try being married for real." That night, for the first time since their wedding, Ilian didn't go to his own room. Instead, they stayed up late talking. They shared childhood stories, dreams, and fears. They talked about Blaze and Ilian's old business partner, about betrayal and learning to trust again. "I never thought I could fully trust anyone again," Ilian admitted in the dark. "Neither did I," Liana said, tracing soft circles on his chest. "But somehow, trusting you feels so easy." "I love you, Liana Crawford," Ilian whispered. Hearing her married name on his lips made her heart sing. "I love you too, Ilian Crawford," she replied. "My husband." The word had never sounded so perfect. 3 months later, Liana was happier than ever. Her work at Crawford Industries was going great. Her marriage with Elian had become real, beautiful, and full of love. She finally felt her life was moving forward. That's when Blaze showed up. Liana was leaving work at Crawford Industries when she saw him waiting near her car. For a moment, she thought her eyes were tricking her, but no, it was him. Blaze. He looked almost the same as he had on their almost wedding day, except thinner and more desperate. "Liana," he said, stepping toward her. "Thank God. I wasn't sure you'd see me." "What are you doing here, Blaze?" Liana asked calmly, though her heart was racing. She hadn't seen or heard from him since the day after he left her at the altar. "I needed to see you," Blaze said, his eyes begging. "I've been trying to reach you for months, but your number was disconnected and you moved. Liana, I've been thinking. I made the biggest mistake of my life when I walked away from you." Liana looked at him closely. He had dark circles under his eyes and looked tired. "Blaze, it's been over 4 months. You can't just come back like nothing happened." "I know," Blaze said quickly, "but I had to understand why I ran. I've been seeing a therapist. I've been working on myself." Liana felt a small flicker of compassion, but she stayed calm. "I'm glad you're getting help, but that doesn't change what happened. I know I hurt you. I know I broke your trust and embarrassed you in front of everyone," Blaze said, moving closer. "But I love you, Liana. I've always loved you. I want to prove it now." "Blaze," Liana began. "You loved me once," Blaze said desperately. "Real love doesn't just disappear. We had 3 years together. That has to count for something." Liana felt many emotions. Anger, sadness, but also relief. Relief because she realized she didn't feel heartbreak anymore. "You're right," she said softly. "And I did love you. But that was 4 months ago. Things have changed." "What do you mean?" Blaze asked, finally noticing her new confident posture and professional look. "I mean, I have a new life now, a job I love, a future that makes me happy." "That's great," Blaze said, though he looked confused. "But we can still have a future too. I've changed. I'm ready for commitment, ready for marriage." Liana took a deep breath. "Blaze, I'm already married." The words hit him like a punch. He stepped back, pale. "What?" "I got married 3 months ago," Liana said gently. "To who?" he whispered. "To a man who was there for me when I needed someone most," Liana said. "A man who has never made me doubt his love." Blaze looked broken. "But we were supposed to be married. We were supposed to spend our lives together." "We were supposed to do many things," Liana said, "but you walked away." "I made a mistake," Blaze cried. "Doesn't our whole relationship mean anything?" "You're right. It did mean something," Liana said firmly. "It taught me what I don't want. It taught me the difference between someone who only says I love you and someone who shows it every day." Tears filled Blaze's eyes. "Please, Liana, don't throw us away." "I'm not throwing anything away," Liana said. "I'm choosing something better. I'm choosing someone who would never leave me." "Who is he?" Blaze asked in a broken voice. "His name is Elian Crawford," Liana said proudly. "And he's everything you weren't. He's reliable, supportive, kind. He makes me feel valued and loved every single day." "Do you love him?" Blaze whispered. "With all my heart," Liana answered without hesitation. The certainty in her voice crushed him. Blaze sat heavily on a nearby car, his head in his hands. "I've lost you forever, haven't I?" "You lost me the day you left me at the altar," Liana said kindly. "I'm sorry, Blazy, but you can't undo that." "What if I hadn't run? Would we have been happy?" he asked desperately. "I don't know," Liana admitted, "maybe for a while, but the man who could walk away on his wedding day is not the man I want to spend my life with. Elian would never do that." Blaze nodded slowly, finally accepting it. "I suppose this is goodbye then?" "I guess it is," Liana said. "Take care of yourself, Blaze. Get the help you need." Blaze walked away without looking back. Liana watched him go with a strange sense of peace. She knew she had chosen right. Elian was her real love. Blaze was just a painful memory. That evening, Liana sat in her car in the driveway of their house. She thought about whether to tell Elian about Blaze. Part of her wanted to hide it, but their marriage was built on honesty. She wouldn't break that now. She found Elian in his study, working. He smiled the moment he saw her. "You're late," he said, standing to kiss her. "I was starting to worry." "I'm sorry," Liana said softly. Something unexpected happened. Elian immediately noticed her tone. "What happened?" "Blaze showed up," Liana said simply. Elian froze. "Blaze, your ex-fiancé?" "Yes," Liana nodded. "He was waiting by my car." "What did he want?" Ilian asked carefully, though Liana saw the tension in his eyes. He wanted to apologize, to win me back. He said he's in therapy and ready for marriage. Ilian stayed quiet for a moment. Then he asked, "And what did you tell him?" "I told him I'm already married," Liana said firmly, "that it's too late." Some tension left Ilian, but not all. How did it feel seeing him again? Sad, Liana admitted. Sad for the time we wasted, but also relieved. Relieved that I felt nothing, no regret, no longing, just nothing. It showed me I've completely moved on. Ilian looked into her eyes. "Did any part of you consider his offer?" "Ilian, look at me," Liana said firmly. He met her eyes, and she saw his hidden fear. "Blaze had 3 years to prove he was ready," she said. 3 years to show me he could be trusted. Instead, he left me on what should have been the happiest day of my life." "You've been with me for only 4 months," Liana said softly. "But in that time, you have shown me more love, more care, and more kindness than Blaze ever did." "But you loved him once," Ilian whispered. "You wanted to spend your life with him." "I thought I loved him," Liana corrected. "But I was wrong. But real love is different. Real love doesn't run away when life gets hard. Real love doesn't leave you all alone when you're scared. Real love is what you do, Ilian, every single day in 1,000 little ways." Ilian looked into her eyes. "Are you sure? Really sure? What if a small part of you thinks you would be happier with him?" "Stop," Liana said quickly, cupping his face in her hands. "Ilian Crawford, you are the love of my life. Not because of some arrangement, not because you saved me from a bad situation, but because you are the kindest and most honest man I have ever met. I choose you. I will always choose you." Ilian closed his eyes and leaned into her touch. "I was so scared," he admitted. "When you told me he wanted you back, I thought I was going to lose you." "You're never going to lose me," Liana promised. "Not ever. Even if he comes back and tries to change my mind, I will tell him the same thing again and again. I am married to the man I love. Nothing will change that." Liana kissed him gently. "You have my whole heart, Ilian. Blaze can't take it away because it was never his to begin with." Ilian hugged her tightly, and at last Liana could feel the worry leaving his body. "I love you so much," he whispered into her hair. "I love you too," she answered with a smile. "More than I ever thought I could." For a while, they just held each other in quiet peace. Then Liana said, "There's something else I realized today when I saw Blaze." "What is it?" Ilian asked. "Our marriage, our so-called marriage of convenience. It was never about convenience at all." Ilian looked surprised. "What do you mean?" "I mean, you could have hired some actress to pretend to be your wife for business events. I could have stayed with friends or family. But we didn't want that. We wanted each other." Slowly, Ilian nodded. "We wanted each other," he repeated, as if the truth was finally sinking in. "Yes," Liana said softly. "From that very first night in the church garden, we were both looking for something real. We just weren't brave enough to admit it." A smile spread across Ilian's face, the first true smile since she had mentioned Blaze's visit. "So you're saying our marriage of convenience was actually fate?" "No," Liana corrected gently, smiling back. "I'm saying it was love. We just needed time to see it." "Then we should celebrate," Ilian said, pulling her close again. "Celebrate what?" She laughed. "Celebrate that Blaze's return only made us stronger. Celebrate that we passed our first big test as a couple. Celebrate that we're not a marriage of convenience anymore. We're just a marriage." "Just a marriage," Liana repeated, liking how it sounded, and Ilian kissed her like he wanted to keep kissing her for the rest of their lives. That night, as they lay in bed, Liana felt calm. Blaze's return had been scary, but it was also necessary. It made her look at her heart carefully and choose her future with Ilian, completely and without doubt. "No more ghosts from the past," she murmured. "No more fear about the future," Ilian replied. "Just us," Liana said. "Just us," Ilian agreed. "Forever." 6 months later, Liana stood in front of her mirror, fixing the cream-colored dress she wore. It wasn't anything like the big fancy white dress she had worn at her first wedding that never happened. This one was simple, graceful, and chosen for a ceremony filled with true love, not fear. "Are you ready?" Zara, her best friend and maid of honor, asked. "More than ready," Liana said with a happy smile. "I can't wait to marry him." "You look so calm this time," Zara noticed. "That's because I am," Liana said. "I have no doubts about Elian. He's the most reliable man I know." The wedding was held in the same church garden where Elian had first found her on her worst day. But this time, the garden was filled with white roses and shining lights. It was magical. As Liana walked down the aisle with her father, she saw Elian waiting under a simple arch covered in flowers. His smile was brighter than the sun. Their eyes met, and Liana felt her heart overflow. "You look beautiful," Elian whispered when she reached him. "So do you," she whispered back. Father Martinez, the priest who had once watched her humiliation, now stood with a huge smile. "Dearly beloved," he began, "we are gathered here today to celebrate Elian and Liana, who found love in the most unexpected way." As he spoke about love and marriage, Liana thought of everything. Blaze leaving her, her arrangement with Elian, their slow friendship, the love that grew, and finally the strength they found when Blaze came back. Every step had led to this perfect moment. When it was time for vows, Elian went first. "Liana," he said clearly, "when I found you here 8 months ago, I thought I was just helping with a problem. I never knew I was finding the missing piece of my heart. You bring joy, laughter, and love into my life. You make me want to be a better man every day. I promise to love you, support you, and never run away when things get hard. I promise to choose you every single day for the rest of my life." Tears filled Liana's eyes as she said her vows. "Elian, you saved me in every way a person can be saved. You showed me that I was worthy of real love. You celebrated me when I succeeded and comforted me when I failed. You gave me back my confidence and my hope. Most of all, you gave me love. I promise to love you with all my heart, to support your dreams as you support mine, and to choose you every single day for the rest of our lives." When the priest finally said, "You may kiss the bride," Elian kissed Liana so tenderly that every guest cried happy tears. "Ladies and gentlemen," Father Martinez said proudly, "I give you Mr. and Mrs. Elian Crawford for real this time." The reception was in Elian's garden with twinkling lights and happy laughter. Elian gave a toast. "8 months ago," he said, "I thought I had life figured out. I thought I could solve everything with a simple business arrangement. But Liana taught me that love cannot be arranged or planned. It has to be lived and felt. Liana, you are my greatest blessing, my dearest friend, and the love of my life. Here's to our true beginning." Later, during their first dance, Elian handed Liana a small box. Inside was a necklace with a tiny key charm. "It's the key to my heart," he said, "but you've had it for months already." Liana smiled. "I love it, and I love you." "I love you too, Mrs. Crawford," Elian replied. After everyone left, they sat on the same stone bench where their story began. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if Blaze hadn't left?" Elian asked. "Sometimes," Liana admitted. "But then I realize if he hadn't left me, I would never have found you. That would have been the real tragedy." "So Blaze did us a favor?" Elian teased. "Yes," Liana said. "Everything happened the way it was supposed to. I needed to have my heart broken so I could see real love when I found it. And you needed to admit you were lonely. Together, we found something true." They sat in peace, thinking about the future. "So what happens now?" Liana asked, like she had the night they first kissed. "Now," Elian said, "we live happily ever after. We build our careers, maybe start a family, and grow old together knowing we found exactly what we were searching for." "I like that plan," Liana said, leaning against him. 6 more months later, Liana gave a big presentation at Elian's company. She saw pride in his eyes and smiled. Afterward, Elian hugged her in the hallway. "You were brilliant," he said. "We make the best team." "Always," Liana laughed. Elian looked at her with hope. Speaking of teams, what do you think about adding a new member? I mean, starting a family. Liana's eyes widened. Then she kissed him right there in the hall. I'll take that as a yes, Ilian grinned. That's definitely a yes, Liana said happily. As they walked back hand in hand, Liana thought about her life. She once believed everything was over when Blaze left her. But that heartbreak was actually the beginning of her happiest life. Sometimes the worst thing turns into the best thing. Liana had learned that lesson the hard way. But she wouldn't change a single part of her journey because it led her here with Ilian. I love you, Mr. Crawford, she said. I love you too, Mrs. Crawford, Ilian replied, forever and always. And both of them knew it was true. Dear friends, thank you for joining Liana and Elian's journey. Their story shows us that sometimes life's biggest sadness can lead to our greatest blessings. What did you think about Liana's choice? Do you believe in second chances? Have you ever had something sad turn into something wonderful? I'd love to hear your thoughts.